someone said, can you share some of your favorite recipes with us? And how often do people need to go into a deficit in maintenance? Like after the program is over, what do you keep doing? Which I think is a really good question. From the recipe question, I have lots of resources that will open up to you as you go through, like whether you're doing functional medicine with me or nutrition. There's lots of modules that will open up with high protein recipes. I have, for those of you who are doing functional medicine, an elimination diet cookbook, elimination diet meal plan. I have a lot of meal plans. I don't love to point you in the direction of meal plans because I want you to be able to eat the foods that you enjoy and like live life eating those foods without, being fed a meal plan. But I also understand that when you're first starting out and it's overwhelming, anytime you start something new, it can be overwhelming. Um, so I do have meal plans laid out if that is something you would like. I mean, I have like breakfast, lunch, dinner, grocery lists. So if you want something more specific, please let me know. I have one for hormone health. I have gut healing that's like a full AIP autoimmune protocol. But a lot of those things are going to open up for you in the program. One of my favorite recipe sources is Lily Eats and Tells. I'll put it here in the chat. Let me just put the URL. But whatever you choose, please do not pick 5 or 6 new recipes to try in a week. It's overwhelming. You will spend a ton of money on groceries and half of it will rot in your refrigerator. So what I find works really well for me is I will pick I think lunch is an area where people kind of struggle to get high protein, like especially from a mom perspective, it ends up being a lot of like kid leftovers and like random lunch meat and, stuff like that. So if you can go to Lily Eats and Tells and look at her lunch, click on the button that says lunch and pick one new thing to try. She has amazing chicken salad, tuna salad recipes. She does a really good job of incorporating lots of vegetables for fiber, lots of herbs, which are fantastic when we talk about gut health. As far as introducing some digestive enzymes, herbs. So I love all of her recipes and I would encourage you just pick one or two and maybe have one of them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other one on Tuesday, Thursday. She has all of her recipes already preloaded in MyFitnessPal, so you do not have to like create recipes or get really bogged down with the details of that stuff. You just search Lily Eats and Tells chicken salad and it'll come up. It has how much you're supposed to eat, like what the serving size is, and all the macros like already plugged in. So that is, I find, is super helpful. If you're not tracking, all of her recipes are still really good, high protein base. There's a lot of like macro bloggers that I don't love because they get into, like sugar free, like fat free, like it's really sometimes a lot of junk that's just sugar free or fat free. So it like fits their macros. And from a gut health standpoint, I don't really like a lot of their stuff, but Lily's recipes are great. Lily also has a meal plan that you can sign up for. It's just dinner, but she maps out I think it's like 5 meals a week. And you can look at what she has lined up. You can remove what you don't want to do. So I don't ever like do all 5. I'd pick like 2 or 3 max. And then it even links to like your Instacart if you're an Instacart user, and it will go ahead and put all of the ingredients that you don't have in your cart and you can order them, which I find is super helpful. So it really makes shopping, meal prep, all of that very easy. It's really inexpensive. It's like $14.99 a month or $12.99 a month or something like that for her meal plan. The flavors and like her recipes are just so good. My kids love them. And yeah. So anyway, that is what I would say about favorite recipes. I'm like a keep it super simple kind of person. So cottage cheese, eggs and egg whites, plain Greek yogurt, frozen shrimp, wild caught shrimp, frozen fish, those salmon, there's like salmon burger, Trident Farms salmon burgers that you can get at Costco. Like those are the things that I always keep here. Tuna. You can grill chicken and put it in the freezer. So like I always make sure I just have these high protein items on hand. And if you pair that with seasonal vegetables, then it takes a lot of the guesswork and like confusion out of it. I think that people let meal planning and all of that overwhelm them, and it doesn't need to be, but you need to only pick a couple things to do. I think that everybody should be using Instacart. I mean, we're all really busy women and or like some sort like Walmart grocery pickup or whatever. I mean, I spend less money on groceries when I'm using these ordering apps because I'm not walking in the store overwhelmed with all the delicious stuff and like the buy one get one free. And I mean, I stick to my list. I put it in the cart. I see the total before I check out. So like maybe I go back through and say like, I mean, I really don't need that this week. I don't want to spend that much on groceries. So I take a few things out. From a cost perspective, I think that you more than make up the cost of Instacart by doing that. That's just me. If you love to grocery shop, that's totally fine. But please don't let the lack of time to get to the grocery store keep you from hitting your goals, because it's 2024 and that really should not be the case. Um, okay, and then deficit maintenance. So let me just, I have some Q&A, like I have at least one Q&A specifically on this, but let me just kind of lay it out. So a deficit is you're trying to lose weight. So like most of you, I have in a calorie deficit. I don't love leaving you in a calorie deficit more than 12 weeks. So typically when people come in, let's say they have like 30 pounds to lose. We're going to do a calorie deficit for 12 weeks. If your body's still responding and you haven't been like spot on every single day, like maybe there's been some higher calorie days here and there, I'll let you go a little bit longer. But if people have been like pretty diligent, tracked regularly, and haven't had a lot of wiggle room, and I mean, typically that's the time like you're going to start seeing some weight plateau. So people start to get frustrated. This is where most of the time people get frustrated that their weight plateaued. They start like falling off the wagon a little bit. And then all of a sudden you've gained all the weight back plus more. So what I do in my program is we strategically do what we call a reverse diet, where I add calories back in every 3 to 5 days. I coach you through all of this. This is not something that you need to know or remember. I just want you to kind of follow me through how this works. And we continue to do that until your weight starts to go up by like 2 to 3 pounds, and we stop there. That's your maintenance. You stay there for a solid 8 to 12 weeks, and then we do another deficit. So most people, even if they have a large chunk of weight to lose, they try to stay in this just like continual diet and like keep doing good, doing good, doing good. Well, there's going to come a weekend, stressful life event, a holiday that's totally going to derail you. And that's why most of America is doing the yo-yo thing over and over. So at 12 weeks or a little bit after, depending on the situation, we do a reverse diet. We bring you up to maintenance. I usually like have people, I mean, I don't want to have you like paying monthly for maintenance. So typically we'll kind of like push pause, let you stay at maintenance for 8 to 12 weeks, and then we'll do another deficit together, because that's where you really need the accountability and the guidance and that sort of thing. So it's really better to do deficit, come up, then another deficit. Does it take longer in the long run? Yes. Does it set you up for actually being able to keep the weight that you lose off? Yes. It's really the only way to do it. So that is kind of, how I lay that out. If you don't have as much weight to lose, then a lot of times we can start the reverse diet within the first 12 weeks. From a cost perspective, this is not for my functional medicine people. That's a little bit different. But from a cost perspective, after the 12 weeks that you committed to, it just goes month to month. So it's really however long it takes us to do the reverse, get to maintenance, and then pause. So it's different for each person, but that is typically how how I do it. I also think that from a mindset standpoint, it's really overwhelming to think I need to lose 50 pounds. You're going to accomplish a lot more if you look at it as like, okay, I need to lose 2 pounds. I need to repeat those behaviors and lose the next 2 pounds, and really take it like step by step, and know that you're only in that calorie deficit for 12 weeks because when you are having to make sacrifices and maybe turn down some of the foods that you like and that sort of thing, you want to know that there's an end in sight. Otherwise, you're going to cheat all the time because you're not like, okay, I just need to buckle down and get as much out of this deficit as I can for 12 weeks. Like, that's a lot different from a mindset perspective than thinking it's just, this ongoing diet, calorie deficit sort of thing. I still encourage you, like for all of you who are in a calorie deficit, to allow some room for the foods that you like, but that doesn't mean that you do that every single day. And it doesn't mean you don't have to reduce the quantities. Like, I love French fries, and I've been at maintenance for a long time, but I recently started a deficit. And listen, y'all, like, I love food. Like, I hate feeling hungry. I hate being in a calorie deficit. I mean, I hate all of it. But you buckle down and you do it for a period of time to accomplish your goal, and then you're back at maintenance with some freedom. So like I said, I love French fries, but when I'm in a calorie deficit, I have to reduce the amounts. Like, if we go to Chick-fil-A on Friday, like, I'm getting a kid's fry. I'm not getting, and I'm not getting a Coke with it. Like, there's some trade-offs. But that is all, yes, those trade-offs are hard, and like sacrifice is hard, but so is being in pain every day and not being able to keep up with your kids and your grandkids because you're overweight. Like, so we have to kind of always put in perspective, like, both sides of things are hard. Okay, anyway, that was like a tangent I did not mean to go on. So those were her questions. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. If anyone has any questions as we go, let me know. Let me try this again. So I just want to give you guys some quick tips, and I have like a whole Q&A that I did on this previously, and I have it scheduled in the nutrition program, which those of you who are doing functional medicine, after you go through the functional medicine program in Healthy, I'm going to then put you in the nutrition program. So you're going to get all of the information. It's just with the functional medicine, we're taking it back even a step more with like elimination and like starting a little bit more at square one, if that makes sense, with the labs and everything. So just to kind of put that in perspective. Okay. So MyFitnessPal, all of you, we have set this up. Here's my log for today. So we set this up on our first call. For those of you who are doing the nutrition program, if you're doing functional medicine, we're starting with more elimination, but we're going to get to this. This is where everyone is going to end up. Okay. So, what I like to do, like I always tell people, if it gets to mid-morning and I haven't put anything in my food log, I am not logging that day. I go straight to the next day and I start with my plan for the next day. Otherwise, you are always going to be playing food Tetris, trying to enter things in reverse as you eat it throughout the day, and it's not enjoyable and you're never going to hit your numbers. So what I do is around this time, or like before I go to bed, I go to my food log for tomorrow. I eat the same thing for breakfast like almost every single day. It might change a little bit, but pretty much the same thing. Can y'all see my mouse, like my cursor, my little arrow? Okay. So you can push these three little ellipses and push copy from date. I'm going to copy my breakfast today, and it puts everything in there. So let's say that tomorrow I am only going to have a half a cup of cottage cheese and I'm going to have strawberries instead of blueberries. It's really easy for me to click on this, adjust the number of servings. So it's set at 1 cup is the serving size. So I'm going to decrease it down here to half, push the check mark. Honestly, I don't know that I would like bother changing out the blueberries, but for the point of this, I will. So we'll do a half a cup. You can also click on, see this like 1 medium, this does not have to be exact. People get really hung up in like, well, I don't know exactly which entry is right. And if you are tracking and it is somewhere close, you're going to get results. Unless you're doing a bikini competition, it does not have to be exact. So don't get hung up in the different entries. Once you start putting things in, the app will memorize like your common choices and it'll bring it to the top. Okay. So you're not always going to have to like be sorting through a lot of entries. Okay. So then lunch, I would put in whatever I'm going to have tomorrow. I'm going to actually go ahead and just log my day tomorrow because I need to do it anyway. And I want to show y'all what I do. Tomorrow I'm having leftovers that we had for dinner. So I'm going to push the 3 little ellipses and push copy from date, change it to dinner from today. So it's a kale salad with corn, grilled peach, steak, red onion, and feta. It's delicious. I'm going to be posting the recipe on my Instagram soon if you guys want it. I typically like this skinny dipped peanut butter cup is to die for. I don't know if you guys have ever tried them. They're from Costco. They have 2 grams of sugar, 5 grams of fat. It's a great like after dinner. Like I know that I want something sweet and I'm a sucker for chocolate and peanut butter. I'm not going to have that after lunch though. So I'm just going to swipe and delete it. And then dinner, I am craving shrimp. So I got some wild caught Argentina shrimp from Costco. I think that I'll have to double check the brand. I don't know it off, but so I'm going to we'll say 4 ounce. Actually, okay, let's put 4 ounces for now. And then there is an arugula salad that I love. That's just arugula. I'm going to click on this. I usually do a cup and a half, so I'm going to increase it to 1.5 servings. Olive oil. I do a teaspoon and I measure the teaspoon because we are really bad at estimating these things as Americans. And if I was at maintenance, I probably wouldn't like get my teaspoon out and measure it. But if I'm trying to lose weight, you better believe I'm measuring it. We're going to do some white balsamic. I don't typically log vinegar. But I will. And then shaved Parmesan. I love me some shaved Parmesan. Okay. All right. So that looks pretty good. Well, let me go ahead and put my skinny peanut butter cup in here because I'm going to want that. And then, so I have 381 calories left. I see I have 23 grams of protein, 9 grams of fat, 48 grams of carbs. So I have quite a bit of room for some fruit, some legumes, like some sort of fiber I'm going to want to use with this. It could be something fun too. But that's kind of what I would go to like with those carbs. And I have 23 grams of protein left. So what I would do is start to adjust some of these servings. So like I'm going to click on the shrimp and I'm going to do 1.5 servings. So that's going to be 6 ounces. So that takes a chunk of it away. And then let me go back. I know I showed you guys like decreasing the cottage cheese, but let's increase the cottage cheese because I actually need a little bit more protein. Let's go to 3/4 of a cup. And I'm going to add some granola to my cottage cheese berry mixture. I love the Farmers We Know and like Purely Elizabeth. Let's see where that brings me. Okay, and so then for a snack, let's add an apple and cashew butter, almond butter, peanut butter, whatever. I'll do some cashew butter. And that brings me pretty darn close. I usually say I like to stay within 10 grams of carbs, get as close to protein as possible, and within 5 grams of fat because fat is more calorie dense than carbs. But that's a solid day. I mean, I have a good breakfast here. This milk is like in my latte. That's why that's there. I did DNA core and I do not have a lactose sensitivity. So I eat dairy. It does not bother me. It helps me hit my protein goal. So I'm totally fine with using it. I've done a lot of DNA core reports and I can count on one hand and the number of people who've had a lactose sensitivity. It's almost always gluten. I think sometimes people blame dairy, but it's actually like a cumulative effect from gluten that's actually bothering them, not the dairy. So anyway, I start my day knowing exactly what I'm having for breakfast, exactly what I'm having for lunch, dinner, and what my snacks are. So I'm never wandering around thinking, oh, I'm starving. What do I want? Because that is going to set you up for a disaster. Because what you're going to want in the moment, like willpower is directly linked to blood sugar. So when your blood sugar starts dropping, you're going to have zero willpower. If you already know when you're like starting to get hungry that you're having an apple with some nut butter, that's going to make you feel full. It's going to balance your blood sugar and you're going to have a lot more self-control over foods that typically are very like tempting to you. All right, let me go to the next day just for like a clean slate. So if you are going out to dinner and you don't know, or out to lunch or whatever, and you don't know what you're going to have, you can click these 3 little ellipses and push quick add. And you can just go ahead and put what we call like a placeholder. You can only do this if you have the premium feature. I also mentioned this in the last Q&A I did. But you can like, depending on what restaurant you're going to or like kind of what you think you're going to have, you can kind of enter a calorie amount. I'd say like around 500 to 600 calories if you're eating out is pretty standard. So it's going to go ahead and put that as a placeholder. The other thing I wanted to show you is if you click add food, you can either do my meals or my recipes. You can create a recipe and you can copy and paste. Like if you get a recipe from Pinterest, you can copy and paste the recipe here. Another trick though is to use what I just told you. Use the quick add. So like at the bottom of most recipes, let's look at Pinterest real quick. Sorry if y'all already know this and it's like cumbersome, but all right, let's just click on these healthy zucchini muffins. Below the recipe, they should have the nutrition ingredients. So you can use the quick add button and just put the numbers in. You don't even have to put the ingredients in. I said jump to recipe, but it didn't. Sorry if I'm making y'all dizzy. Just a side note about like cravings and willpower. I can't tell you, I was actually just talking to someone who we found a lot of dysbiotic bacteria in her gut. If you have bad, unbalanced bacteria in your gut, it screams for junk. So like so many people think they have a willpower issue and it's not. Not that behavior isn't some of it, but a lot of it is dysbiotic bacteria. And that's why like a huge part of my program is gut health. And if you are doing full functional medicine, like we are looking at your microbiome and we are looking at that bacteria, because that, until like you can try and try and try, and until that is improved, I don't want to say fixed because I feel like it's such an ongoing process, but until we address that, it doesn't matter what you do, like you're not going to have willpower. So here's the nutrition facts: 162 calories, 7.1 grams of fat, 12.7 grams of carbs, and protein 4.4. So you can, I'm not going to jot those numbers down right now, but you could go directly into MyFitnessPal, do the quick add, and put those numbers in, whatever it was, 7.7, 12. I'm just making something up now. I don't remember. So there we go. That's it. You don't have to put any of the ingredients in. You don't have to fool with a recipe. You just put it in like that. I do like, so click on add food. I do like the my meals. So like so you'll see like my Truvani shake with smoothie blend. Like if you are doing a shake and you always put like a handful of frozen kale, some flaxseed, smoothie blend, like however you make your typical shake, you can go ahead and enter that and add it, push the check mark, and then it puts everything in. And like, let's say I don't use coconut milk. This is when I was on the elimination diet, I did coconut milk. So I would just back that out and change it to what I typically do. So it lists the ingredients separately so that you can change or delete anything that like you're not using. Trying to think what else I need to tell you guys. Do you have any questions?
Hey, Emmy, you gave us all our macros, but I don't remember if you actually told us what our target fiber intake is.
Okay, good question. That doesn't change. So for females, the goal is at least 25 grams. For males, females 25 to 30 grams, males 30 to 35 grams is the goal. I do find that when you're in a calorie deficit, sometimes it's hard. I mean, well, first of all, most of America, even with our 2,500 calorie diets, we get like not enough fiber at all. And I say it over and over, but like protein and fiber is nature's Ozempic. It will keep you full. It will balance cravings. Like that is what God gave us for Ozempic. And we are often very low. I mean, all the gut testing that I do, one of the biggest things that I find is low short chain fatty acids, which is an indication in your gut that you don't get enough fiber. And that is a huge preventer of colon cancer, lots of different cancers, obesity, like everything. Think about fiber as like the fiber of your shirt. If you're going to have something sugary, you need to pair it with fiber. That fiber helps absorb the sugar and really like prevents the sugar from being absorbed into the bloodstream. I mean, it's literally like a layer of fiber, like your shirt would be. Think of it like that. So, colorful fruits and vegetables, beans, legumes, raspberries have the highest fiber of any fruit. Broccoli is a great source of fiber. These are all like the raspberries and the broccoli are really good low carb options to get fiber. Avocado is a great fiber source.
So my question is, I used to be like totally plant-based and always had really good fiber intake, but I'm actually super sensitive to lectins. So
Okay.
I can't really eat beans, legumes, or a bunch of fruit. So I eat a ton of broccoli, but on MyFitnessPal, like 2 cups of broccoli has like 2 grams of fiber.
Yeah, I mean, I still like you told me your fiber yesterday because that was like 22 grams, right?
Yeah, it's because I had an apple, but I usually don't eat fruit.
How did you do with the apple?
I do okay. I have to do it at night. I can't do it during the day. I
What
have to
about
peel
like
it.
raspberries? Is that still bad?
Yeah, yeah. Berries are okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
What about like I know you do avocado. Avocado would be a great source. What about, um, are you sensitive to like seeds like chia, hemp heart,
Yeah,
flax?
yeah, I can't do those.
Okay. Yeah, then you just have to do your bit. But honestly, like from a food tolerant standpoint, there's always going to be things that like you just don't do well with. So the things that you're okay with, I would just put them into rotation as much as you can.
Okay, sounds good.
And
It just seems
honestly, like
weird that like
go ahead.
you could eat 4 cups of broccoli and that's not enough fiber. Like that's crazy.
I know. And let me just back that. I mean, is that really accurate?
No, but like today I had 3 cups of broccoli and it's like I'm under my fiber and I'm like, this is crazy.
I do think that, let's see. Yeah, 1 cup has 2.4 grams. It is the kind of thing where like nothing has a ton unless it's like bean, but doesn't quinoa have quite a bit? Can you do quinoa?
Yeah, I can. And that's what I started adding in more of today.
Let's see.
Didn't mean to hijack you and
Oh yeah, yeah. No, no,
everybody.
no, no. I am always like, because quinoa, fiber is not technically like a macronutrient. Like a lot of people don't talk. Yeah. So quinoa has quite a bit, like over 5 grams. Actually, like in popcorn, can you do popcorn? Like popcorn is actually a really good source. I'd want to make sure that corn is one of the most polluted industries right now, as far as like GMO and that sort of thing. So you want to do lesser evil, but popcorn is a good source of fiber.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
kind of anti Monsanto situation, so I don't eat a lot of corn.
so it says that 185 grams of cooked quinoa contains 5.18. I do find that like it feels hard to get it to add up. Like let me look at my fiber from today. Like I had kale and a lot of good vegetables and stuff, and it's still, yeah, I was at 16 grams today. So like it takes effort. But obviously like the more calories you have to work with, the higher quantity of these things you can have. I would say that like when you're in a calorie deficit, if you can consistently come in around 20 grams, that's really solid and better than 95% of Americans getting. What about, sorry, what about dried fruit? Like apple chips? Like, does that still bother you?
Yeah, no, that those do bother me, and they also oftentimes have a lot of hydrogenated oils in them. But the second problem is you just want to eat the whole thing.
So Bayer apple chips do not have any bad oils. It is only the apple.
Which
Uh,
brand is?
Bayer, Bare.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look.
Yeah, and that one is like but yes, no, I kid. So Costco sometimes will have the individual packages and like I'll get a big box and so like I have to have like just that package. But I have two like bigger bags right now and I agree with the self-control, like wanting to eat the whole thing. But yeah, no, I feel like if you can stay around 20 grams, like that's pretty darn solid. My phone disconnected and stopped sharing my screen, but I feel like you guys get the gist so when I say pre-logging, that means put things in ahead of time and adjust the amounts of things so that a lot of you like, I break this down into steps. So like first we're hitting protein, then we're working on carbs and fats. Like if you see that you're blowing your carbs out of the water, we make adjustments. And yes, again, like there will be sacrifice, but like we're either taking the Coke off or the fries off or, making some sort of adjustment as far as that's concerned. For those of you who don't know how to see fiber, if you go all the way to the bottom of your food log in MyFitnessPal and click on nutrition, you will see the fiber bar. And most of ours is, since we are females, probably set to 25 grams is the goal. Pull up my chat and make sure. Does anyone else have questions? It doesn't look like it. So if you guys ever have requests for like topics, I get kind of stressed out, like trying to, I try to talk about things that I know like a lot of people are asking me. So it's kind of like a message to the masses kind of thing. But if there's ever anything that you kind of like request from a Q&A standpoint, let me know. I don't like to feel like I'm talking at you guys, but I want to give you things that are helpful. So I've done travel, eating out, tracking in my fitness pal, and even like some of the functional medicine stuff. Like if you want to go through a CSAP, like a gut health report or DNA core, I've done those, or like cortisol, like the Dutch test, kind of walk through some of those and like, what do they tell us? And, that kind of thing. I'm happy to do that kind of stuff too. I did one on stress way back at the beginning, and I probably should do that again. So just kind of talking through like vagal nerve stimulation and turning on the parasympathetic nervous system so that we're not always in fight or flight sympathetic nervous system. I think maybe that would be a good topic for the next one, like stress management. I could give you guys the stress questionnaire that I use in functional medicine quite a bit. Um, Gives me an idea of where you're at as far as like the HPA axis. That's, cortisol is such a hot topic. So maybe we'll do that next. But if you guys have any requests or specific things like that, let me know. Otherwise, I will let you all go. Well, I guess whenever I end the meeting, we'll end the recording. If you have any follow-up questions after this, let me know. But you guys are free to go.
Thanks, Emmy.
Thank you. Thanks, Tiffany. Y'all take care.